Good evening, my dear friends, and let me extend to you a real warm welcome to my YouTube channel. We can make a difference. I'm sure you're having a good time. We are all getting ready for Thanksgiving, a great day when we come together, we celebrate, we thank God for all the blessings that we receive from God, and we thank one another. You know, our life is better with one another, and everyone has something to contribute to our happy living. Today, liturgically, is the last Sunday of the ordinary time, and we conclude the ordinary time of the year with the celebration of Christ the King. Christ the King of the universe. And so I want really, my dear brothers and sisters, present to you Christ the King of the universe. Look at Jesus. Look at the title, Christ the universal King. Pilate asked Jesus, of course out of fear, "Are you the King?" And Jesus said, "Yes, I am. For this I came into the world." But then he also explained to Pilate that his kingdom is not of this world, his kingdom of the world to come. Look at Jesus, the King of the universe. There's no pomp, there's nothing glorious, there's nothing powerful, there's nothing beautiful in the King. He did not have even a crown. He did not have a kingdom, so to say, in this world. He did not have an army. He never raised an army. He never fought a war. And yet, he continues to be the King of the universe. And he will impact the world. He will continue to impact the world until the very end of the universe. And therefore, look at Jesus. Look at his crown. His crown is made of thorns. Can you imagine the soldiers, the cruel men pushing onto his skull a crown made of sharp thorns? Look at his staff. His staff was the cross. And yet, here is a king who suffered everything. In comparison to the kings of the world, you know, when you think of a king, any king for that matter, there was a time when the world was ruled by the kings. I come from India. There's so many kings and so many kingdoms. When you think of a king, you think of his glory, you think of his power, you think of his glorious life, rich life, you know. But look at Jesus. There is nothing glorious, nothing, glamorous, no pomp around him. And yet, there is no king who lived in the world who had as much impact, as much influence as Jesus, the King of the universe. Jesus is my King. Jesus is our King. Jesus is the King of the universe. Jesus is the King of every human being. Let's really look at it, my dear brothers and sisters. The power of Jesus. The power of Jesus is the power of love. The power of Jesus is the power of forgiveness. That's what makes Jesus so different, so important. He is King of the universe with that power of love. Look at him on the cross. Even before he died, he conquered the world by his beautiful prayer, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And therefore, my dear friends, Jesus is the King of the universe. But the question that you and I should ask, is Jesus the King of my life? Is Jesus my King? And if Jesus is my King, do I follow him? Do I accept him? Do I follow his teachings? And that's what I want to present to you. That's what I want to leave with you by sharing with you the poem that I composed, Jesus King of the Universe. As I've always told you, please look at this poem. Look at the words of this poem. Enjoy reading this poem, but more than enjoying, pick up those lines, those words in the poem that speak to you, that speak to your heart, and pick up those words, make those words your own, and reflect and meditate on these words, and choose Jesus as your King. And when you do that, when you choose Jesus as your King, I promise you, your life will be different. You will have a new direction, you will have a new focus, and you will have a new life. Thank you, my friends, and please do not forget to share my channel and subscribe to it, and invite all your friends and families, relatives, anyone you want, and encourage them to subscribe to my channel. Before I conclude, wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving day, and make this a beautiful celebration of love and friendship with one another. Thank you, and God bless.
The King of Kings. He was the humblest king who was so poor, they mocked and scorned him with abusive jeer. The King of Kings did not have a palace. He was tortured by men who were callous. He didn't wear a ring of authority. They gave him a crown, shaggy and thorny. His throne was a cross on which he was hung. In pain and shame, the world suddenly flung. He owned nothing and traveled just little. With people he was simple and gentle. His mother nurtured him from her womb. He was buried in a borrowed tomb. His royal staff was a small walking stick. His kingly attire was his Jewish cloak. The followers he chose were his fishermen folk. As spiritual leader he loved his flock. Once killed, they thought his life would be over. Puny men didn't know he'd live forever. He rose from the dead like the rising sun, and reigns in heaven, God's beloved Son. No king or emperor influenced human life like him who is our way to eternal life. Jesus is the King of earth and heaven. To be heirs of his kingdom, we are chosen.